people get involved in your campaign. They say, you know what, I love this woman, I love what she's doing, she's fighting for us. And I expect all of you guys to get involved with conservative media. Do you have faith in Janet Napolitano to keep you safe from harm? These people are speaking it out here. They're letting you know what's going on. This is John Villarreal reporting for Conservative New Media. Okay. John Villarreal, Conservative New Media. Now we're here with E Squared's people, Elizabeth Emken for Congress. Now she's come out here and sent her people out here, and they're supporting this. They're protesting this McNerney. Nice. Fans of CNM. They're protesting this McNerney town hall. It didn't seem like much of a town hall to me. Sir, you work for Elizabeth Emken, you volunteer. What's your name?
Jeff Tomasich.
Jeff, now why do you like E?
Because I think she's a brand new face for the Republican Party out here, a fresh face, and the best position to unseat Democrat Jerry McNerney, which is all what we're after here.
You're worried about McNerney. Now this guy, he's just wrecked it all for this district and maybe being Pelosi's puppet for the country. What concerns you most about Mr. McNerney, Congressman McNerney?
Everything. It's absurd that he votes with Nancy Pelosi 97% of the time.
So like the number one issue for you is what? The debt, healthcare, the energy, what is it?
Well, you look at me in my generation, and we're taxed to death, and we all know that we're not going to have any Social Security left. I think it's ridiculous, and we need to kick these guys out.
I agree with you. Now, before we can kick them out, and before E or Brad Garyon or whoever can challenge him, there's a primary here. Now, we're deep in the middle of this.
Absolutely.
The main competition, some would say, because there's been barbs trade back and forth, is David Harmer. Some would call him the front runner, or at least the establishment candidate, quote unquote. What do you think about David Harmer?
I think he's an interesting candidate.
I think it is very interesting. I think it's really interesting that he's really attacked you guys, and he's really attacked E. And I question it. It seems to me, if you look at some of the things that he said in his fundraising letters, not just from himself, but his wife as well, that he's almost saying that maybe, possibly, that Elizabeth Emken is a religious bigot. What do you think about that?
I think that's absurd to call Elizabeth a religious bigot. I think that's completely distorting the facts. And if you actually take a look at our mailer, it's up on our website, E as in Edward, M as in Mary, KEN as in Nancy, 2010.com. That's ridiculous and completely manipulating the facts for his gain. I
mean, isn't it kind of weird? I mean, dude, this guy announced, if anyone's making religion an issue, I think David Harmer's making religion an issue. I mean, he announced in the Mormon Times, or more or less announced in the Mormon Times. Now, is the Mormon Times a newspaper that you can get around here on the newsstands?
I haven't seen it before. I don't know about you.
I haven't seen it on the newsstands around here. I believe that the Mormon Times is out of Utah, put out by the Deseret News, which I think is owned by the church.
I'll let you go ahead with that one. I don't know, but
it's weird. And then basically, you know, David Harmer then has his wife come out and put out a fundraising letter. Have you seen a fundraising letter or a attack or rebuttal from Elizabeth's husband?
Never.
I haven't either. I don't know. Who's running for Congress here? David Harmer or is his wife? Is he hiding behind his wife's skirt?
Wow. That's a loaded question.
I'm just saying it's a little bit of a crazy question. Now, so he comes on and he does this, and then it gets a little bit stranger. So we've all seen about this whole religion thing, and I've defended E on the air, and E's defended herself. I mean, I had a voter come up to her and say, oh, you know, you're attacking my religion, whatever, like that. And look, the question's been raised. If you can't quote the Mormon Times, I mean, is the Mormon Times a reputable newspaper?
Yes, absolutely. And that was the whole point of the mailer, is the Mormon Times is a completely legitimate news source, and that's why we...
And you guys were only citing it, as far as I understand, just to point out the fact that he's running again. That he ran in Utah, failed in that campaign in '96. He ran over there in CD10 in what, last year, and now he's running again. And you just pointed that out because that's the interview that he made where he announced it.
Absolutely.
It's very funny. Now, you also cited the Contra Costa Times, did you not?
Correct.
Okay, so now we fast forward, and I'm getting some weird stuff here. There's an email coming out, I believe it's from the Harmer campaigns, from Mallory West, who's, I believe, the campaign's finance director, and we are treated to a nice picture of Miss Mallory on that. I've never seen that before. I don't know if we're selling real estate, or I don't know what we're selling here, but whatever, let's be that as it may. And it says, quote, at the bottom here, people sometimes ask you how much to give. We recommend, as a guideline, 1% of your gross income. If you make $50,000 a year, give $500 to the campaign. If you make $100,000, give $1,000 to the campaign. Now, I've been in politics since 1988. I have never seen a campaign fundraising that asks for a percentage of your gross income. Some people, some blogs have said, and Halfway to Conquer, that this is like a tithe. Other people said it's like a tax. What is your reaction to this? And if you've ever seen or heard anything like this?
I've never heard anything like that before, and all I can say is I'm speechless.
I am speechless, and it is bizarre, but it gets even a little bit weirder. Congressman Bill Baker, former Congressman Bill Baker, also sent something out where they're asking for volunteers, and I want to make sure I have this right. I don't know exactly where this is, but it was something to the extent of, you know, getting people to quote unquote convert or something to the cause. What is that?
I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with it.
My question is, who's making religion part of this campaign? Is it part of this campaign? I hear all these weird things about percentage of incomes. Some people talking that it's a tithe. I heard some people attacking Elizabeth Emken for being a religious bigot when she's citing a reputable newspaper. I'm hearing people talking about quote unquote converting people. Doesn't this strike you as kind of odd?
It certainly strikes me as odd, and I think when you circle back here and look at Elizabeth, I think she's the rational choice and in the best position to unseat Democrat Jerry McNerney.
Now let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. You work for Elizabeth Emken. You're fired up for her. You think she's a nice woman. She stood up for autism. She stood up for kids. She's been from this district. How does it feel personally to deal with someone like David Harmer, who is a serial candidate, right, who doesn't even live in this district, who's basically unleashed his forces and his name and his wife's name to call someone that you know, who you like, who lives in this district, more or less a religious bigot, and attack her, some would say, and I personally would say unfairly?
Well, I think it speaks to politics as usual, and that's exactly what voters throughout the country are ready to reject, and especially here in the district on June 8th. That's why we're confident that Elizabeth's going to pull it out.
I think people should reject those kind of tactics by David Harmer. Well, we thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.